everything is changing for the Chicago Bulls. The youth has picked up the productivity in a huge way. The Montes Buzelises of the world, the Zach Collins, the Trey Joneses of the world. However, we're focusing on one man who has been putting on an absolute clinic for the past couple months. And of course, his name is Coby White himself. Hello, my name is Isaias Jackson Jr. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Bulls Digest. Look, new face here, first day on the job. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I know I'm pretty much pumped up, fully gassed. I'm ready to talk some Bulls basketball. And of course, getting into all the Coby White news and notes. But first, got to tackle the elephant in the room. 67.5% of you guys aren't subscribed. 32.5% of you guys are. Look, I'm not going to be the one that's going to come here and lecture you guys. This is my first day on the job. I'm not going to come here and be subscribe, like. Look, we appreciate you guys for tuning in, for clicking on the video, and for giving us a chance, an opportunity. As you're watching this video here, myself, Rico, Shaq, they do an amazing job here on Bulls Digest. So if you like us, please like, share, subscribe. We also have other Digest YouTube channels as well that you can log into and tune into. So show some support, show some love, and thank you guys so much for tuning in. We got to get right into the meat of the matter. And of course, that's Coby White. Coby White in the month of March was averaging 29.8 points per game. Of course, he started off with that game in Indy where he pretty much had a solid outing, just 26 points, 25 points after that when they took the loss to Cleveland. And of course, the 44-point game he had against Orlando. After that, it was smooth sailing at 21, 29, 31, 23, 26, 24. Then, of course, the last three games that we just saw, the 35 points, 36 points, and 37-point game that he had against Denver last night in the win. Just absolutely amazing. It's a stellar performance there from Coby White. You're seeing him put up great numbers, and you're not seeing him revert to his old ways back in his rookie year, his first two seasons in the league, where it looked like he was just not necessarily chucking up shots. I guess you could say he had no shot IQ. He just didn't know when to hold the ball, when to not shoot at certain points in times. Excuse me. So when you're looking at him in transitions early on, the first thing he wanted to do was chuck up the ball. He wasn't going to drive to the basket. He wasn't going to run to the basket on a fast break. He was going to extend out because, of course, he wanted the long ball. And 9 times out of 10, it didn't really necessarily, not even 9 times out of 10, it didn't really necessarily work in the Chicago Bulls' favors at some point where you could have just got an easy layup in most cases. But Coby White, I thought it's been an absolute dog, an absolute monster as of late. Of course, we talked about 35 to 36 to 35-point game as well. Coby White, of course, is the second Bull to have 3 consecutive 35-point games since Jordan did it in 1988. Just been an absolute monster, and of course, that's great company to be in. Coby White, as I mentioned before, scared me a little bit. He scared me in the beginning of this season because I thought Coby White wasn't going to be the Coby White we saw last year. Coby White was so efficient last year. I thought he was so smooth, was robbed of a Most Improved Player of the Year award. Of course, I'm still mad about that, even though it's just an MIP. Just relax, But no, it's one thing that I thought Coby White deserved that award. And then you come over to now, and the beginning of the season, I thought Coby White went back to his old ways of just chucking up shots and pretty much going to struggling at the line, being inefficient, at the three-point line, just being a little inefficient from times. I was completely wrong after seeing the great work that Coby White is putting in right now. And Billy Donovan loves it too. Billy Donovan loves it too as well. Billy Donovan chimes in. He says, he's great. I think the big thing I've seen growth in, and we'll see how tonight goes, but I think he's pushed himself to be really consistent. And that's the thing that was encouraging to me, is being honored last week for the award and then coming back and getting honored again. That's what we love to see from Coby White. Coming back and getting honored again. We kind of figured Coby White can do this. Coby White can do this. At first, when Coby White started getting hot a little bit going into the second, third season, we kind of already figured this Zach Lavine, Coby White tandem is going to be monstrous. Zach Lavine finally gets a little bit of help. And then as soon as Patrick Williams gets his stuff together, okay, now we're looking good. Of course, one of those things that we're still waiting to happen. But we're seeing Coby White being formed, being molded into the player he is today, and you gotta love it. You gotta love the growth that Coby White has had. Because as I mentioned before, a lot of people were really skeptical about Coby White. I think if Coby White would have came through and struggled a little bit this year, we would have, oh man, the trade rumors would have been all over the place. Of course, you're seeing it still now because everybody got to, you always got to trade somebody on your team. But I feel like it would have been much, much, much worse if Coby White went on to have a struggling season this year. Then, of course, we would have had fans going out the woodworks trying to trade this man. And Coby White himself, I don't think he's deserving of that. I think he is the future for the Chicago Bulls. It's just a matter of who you have around him. And just looking at Josh Giddey, looking at Montes Buzelis, I'm looking to move forward from Nikola Vucevic after this season's all said and done. What is Coby White going to look like? And it depends on, as I mentioned before, who he has in his circle. And if you think Billy Donovan is the right man to lead this Coby White Bulls team. Moving forward, Billy Donovan also says, I think he's really worked hard to try and figure out ways for him, how he can stay present in the moment on what's in front of me now and what's behind me. What did I learn? What did I learn from what's behind me? What I have to do and what's next. Billy Donovan also says, I'm happy for him. He deserves it. He's worked really, really hard. He's leaned into all the challenges. That he's had to go through personally. And yeah, and even with Coby White going through personally. And now I'm a huge fan of Coby White. I have a huge beef. I'm from Indiana. I have a huge beef with Pacers fans. They get on my last nerves. They make me sick. But the biggest thing that they talk about when they want to insult the Chicago Bulls is Coby White, and they attack how Coby White is socially. He's a little socially awkward, but he looks fun. He looks like a fun time. At least that's how I see it. At least some Chicago Bulls fans. And you're seeing Coby White become a little bit more relaxed, And the criticism isn't too heavy on Coby White this year. And that's because of the great work he put in last year. As I mentioned before, I thought in the beginning of the season, Coby White was starting to get picked on just a little bit because you started to see a little bit of his rookie season shot making, his shot creation as well. It just wasn't there early on. Now, a whole lot better. You're seeing him be a whole lot more efficient. And of course, he's able to do that because his team is hot as well. When you have Josh Giddey putting up a double-double, sometimes even a triple-double, you're able to get Coby White a little bit open. You're able to get Coby White open. You're able to get guys like Zach Collins going, at least whenever he's able to get more minutes now that Nikola Vucevic is in. But when Nikola Vucevic was out, Zach Collins, man, go-to guy, double-double on a regular day for him. Trey Jones as well. Trey Jones is able to drop 20. Trey Jones is able to get you 15. Now, and you're seeing the offense just open up so much more because Coby White, of course, is open a whole lot more. Billy Donovan also continues. He finally says he needs to find that. I feel like he's holding himself to a level of being able to take a good game, and not to say that he would dwell on it or live in it, but I think the hardest thing in the NBA with 82 games is can you move on to the next thing, because they keep coming, and you have to be able to handle success, and you have to be able to handle failure. And that's true. Coby White, he's been able to just move on. This whole team has been able to just move on to the next game. They haven't been able to dwell on anything as of late. Look, we lost to the Indiana Pacers. It's fine. We're getting blown. We're getting smashed by the Orlando Magic. That's cool. Let's go beat the Denver Nuggets. It's crazy. Let's go beat the Dallas Mavericks. Let's go smack the Los Angeles Lakers. Embarrass the Los Angeles Lakers. And then of course you look at the stat sheet. Who's coming alive? You watch the game itself. Who's coming alive? Who is available? Of course, is none other than Coby White. And Coby White, he's getting hot when you need him to be, especially when you see the Bulls kind of trailing. It gets a little stagnant going into that third quarter. As soon as you see Coby White step up onto the court, whether that's him coming off the bench or the start of the third quarter when the Bulls need a rally coming out of halftime, Coby White is not scared of the moment at all. And I love it. I love it. I love it. So now it's just a matter of who is going to be your superstar for the future. Because I know a whole lot of us love Coby White. But man, seeing the ascension that Montes Buzelis is having. Now, I get it. Coby White, much older, has been on the team a whole lot longer, has the NBA experience, considered pretty much a vet right now. I'm talking about in terms of future, just looking into the future. Who can be the guy for the Chicago Bulls here? And now, right now, it's looking like Coby White, but Montes Buzelis definitely isn't far away. And I know this isn't hype, as you can see just from the great work he put in, even in last game against the Los Angeles Lakers, between the leg, behind the back, baseline drive, boom, like it was just smooth for the man. I love everything that Montes Buzelis and Coby White has done for the team. Josh Giddey, Trey Jones, I could go on and on, but as I mentioned before, the leading guy right now has been, of course, Coby White. Looking at his stats right now, 20 points per game, 3.6 rebounds, 4.4 assists, averaging a steal a game, shooting 44% from the field, 36% from field goal range, and just been an absolute monster. Like I said, I love Coby White. Love Coby White with a passion, and you're seeing the great work he's putting in. Got Nikola Vucevic even stepping up. Don't touch him. He's too hot, as he mentioned in yesterday's game. He's been so awesome to watch, and now it's just a matter of what more is Coby White going to give you when it's all said and done. How is Coby White going to bounce back from this going into next season? Or even better, how is this going to serve for for playoffs? You know, do you consider resting guys like Coby White when, now I understand this is the play in, and if they can still squeeze themselves into that 7th seed, I understand this is the play in, but what are the lengths you're going to do to not only protect Coby White, but to make sure he's good to be in the playoffs? The last thing you want to make sure of is that Coby White is not burnt out. That is pretty much the scariest thing you can have right there. As soon as the lights is bright, you see Coby White pretty much suffer from fatigue, shut down, and we've seen it from a lot of these guys before. And I'm not even going to put Paul George's name in there, but we've seen it from a decent amount of NBA players. James Harden, who will drop 60, 50, 40. I'm talking about in the Houston Rockets uniform. And then as soon as the playoffs start, you start seeing them go down to 20. You start seeing them go down to 25. And it's because it's just burnout. You know, now I don't think Coby White is going to be burnt out. I think he has a whole lot of help. I think the team has done a great job in rallying, not only behind him, just rallying beside Coby White, because even when he has to miss out on a couple games, the reinforcements step up. So that's one thing that I really love to see on the game of Coby White. And Coby White, I think he's going to be here for years to come. Like I said, I've seen a lot of people talk about Coby White being traded. That's fans, and that's just something that, of course, is always going to happen once you see somebody get hot and you want to see what's out there in the open market. Right now, I think the Chicago Bulls are A-okay with Coby White. Now, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I do want to thank you guys so much for watching. As I mentioned, like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll see you guys in the next video.